Take those worship guides you got when you came in today. Open them up. We're in a series called Beyond Sunday. And the idea came from just multiple conversations with people who said, man, Aaron, I experience God on Sundays. And my whole dream in this is to help you learn how to experience God every day of your life. You can write it down in your notes this way. Here's kind of the goal of the series, is that you learn to live every day in God's presence, not just on Sundays. So what you just experienced a few minutes ago in worship, you can experience raising your kids. Come on, how many know if you're going to raise kids, you need God involved in that process? Like, you need to have a good marriage. You need God involved in that. You're going to have your finances done right. You need God involved into it. So we're helping you experience God's presence in every area of your life. If you missed last week, you can find it online, but I set kind of a foundation of last week that said that you are actually separated from God's presence because of sin. And that's a big deal. Sin always separates, but I have good news. If you've never heard it, let me tell you, you don't have to live separated any longer. The sacrifice to bridge the gap between you and God's presence has been paid in full. There's nothing you have to do. You just have to come to Jesus. He is the sacrifice necessary. Can you give God a little bit of praise for that? Amen. So Galatians 5 tells us, kind of theme verse of the whole thing. If you're looking for a verse to write down, there it is. Galatians chapter 5 says it like this. Since then, since we live by the Spirit, in other words, we didn't get saved ourselves. We didn't have new life ourselves. We have new life because Jesus transformed us. His Spirit transformed us. Since we now have life by His Spirit, here's what we need to do. We need to now be in step with the Spirit. There's this challenge right there. So I always like to underline or highlight in my Bible. So if I was going to underline two words, here's the words I want you to underline today. Ready? In step. I want you to learn how to walk in step and together, to walk with God. Remember, I told you last week, you're not created to live life for God. He didn't create you so you can have a bunch of minions running around like, okay, we got to do work. No, He created you because He wants relationship with you. As you work, you can work with God. This is the benefit of knowing God. So I want to teach you how to walk in step with God. Now, if you know anything about walking in step or synchronized, I'm not a musician, so I can't use a musician's thing, but there's something about the idea that if you're kind of off tune, you're not in step with the rest, you know what that's like. But the best situation I've found, the best example I've found is actually in my marriage. Because in my marriage, I've realized that Katie and I aren't always in step. And I mean in step, I think there's two different kinds of people in the world today. So I want to know who you are. We're going to be very honest in our conversation today. And I need you to admit some things. It's the house of God. You can do that. Here's the first one. How many in here today are the fast walkers of society? You walk, oh, you're my people. Oh, even the way you raised your hand was fast. I loved it. You're my kind of people. Like, we get out of our car, the car's barely off. Your foot's on that ground. You're getting to your destination. I'm telling you, I can move through a crowd quicker than you ever thought was possible. But God, in all of His love and all of His grace, He did not put me with a fast walker at all. Because there's another group of people in the world today, and my wife, I think, is their leader, and they're called the slow walkers. Where are you guys at? You guys drive me nuts. You were all late coming into church too, I know it. This is my wife. My wife is like this. She's amazing, but for some reason, it takes her so much longer to get to a place than I do. And it drives me nuts. We can both get to church at the same time, either location, and we get out of the car, and I'm to the front of this auditorium in like 42 seconds. It's all the way through worship. I'm starting to preach, and I see her walk in with her coffee and donut. And I'm sitting there like, where were you at? What happened? She's like, well, Aaron, this person in the lobby needed me to talk to him. And this person needed prayer. And I don't know if you saw it, but when you're walking in, this person, they were crying, and they needed someone to be with them. And I'm like, I didn't see any of that. I was getting to my destination. But it's just a way of living life. I'm telling you, I've learned a trick. I'll say it because she's not in the service. She's probably coming, but she's not in the service yet. That's funny. I've learned a trick when we're like on trips and stuff together. I was like, hey, baby, I want to hold your hand. She's like, oh, that's so sweet. And then I pull her. And we go together. It's awesome. Until she finally like hits me and she's like, Aaron, you gotta slow down, I'm pregnant. I'm like, all right, whatever. Actually, funny story, nothing to do with my message, but a couple weeks ago we were flying through Houston, and as we're flying through Houston, our plane's delayed. We have about 10 minutes to get through 2 different terminals to get to the other flight. And I said, Katie, we gotta run. She's like, I ain't running. I said, well, we have to get there. We have to walk fast. She's like, well, you know my walking speed. Like, yeah, you can take the plane. I'll be here in Houston. I'm like, no, I'll come up with a solution. And we get out, and I found one of those wheelchair from the airport. So I borrowed it from the airport. Put it over. I said, Katie, you sit in this thing. She's like, I am not sitting there. I was like, baby, if you want to stay with me, you got to sit in this chair. I'm pushing her through the Houston. If you were in Houston Airport and you saw me, I'm sorry. I'm a Christian, I promise you. But I'm pushing her through going like, she's pregnant, guys. She's pregnant. We got to get to our gate. They're thinking she's in labor. I'm just getting her to the gate. So I just found the key of you got to get there quick. But that's not how God is. God is like my wife in a lot of ways. And if you're a slow walker in here today, I want you to know God's like you in the sense of God lives at a pace that's different than the pace of American society. So if you want to experience God's presence, you got to learn his pace. And here's the phrase I came up with, and it stinks. I came up with it after your sermon notes went to print. And here's the phrase, ready? Is that pace always determines presence. So if I want Katie's presence around me, then I've got to get on her pace. It's just you got to get in step with each other. Listen very carefully. You want God's presence in your life, you got to get on his pace. And if you look at the life of Jesus, he's not running at the pace you're running at. Listen, nobody had more of an important assignment than Jesus himself. Yet the Bible tells us all the time how Jesus was hanging out with children. Jesus is having meals with people. Jesus is talking to people on the side of the road. If I was Jesus, I'd be like, came here to die. Let's go. Let's make it happen. To Jerusalem we go. But that's not how God works. God is all about a different pace. So here's what you got to learn. What the Apostle Paul says in Ephesians chapter 5. He says it like this. See then that you walk. There's his word. That word walk. Be in step. And he says circumspectly. And here's what that means. That means cautiously. Aware. You need to know how you're walking. We're going to evaluate that today. He says not as fools, but as wise. And then he says this phrase. Ready? Redeeming the time. Redeeming the time, for the days are evil. In other words, you need to do your time, you need to do your flow different than the way of the world. So when we do it God's way, it's redeemed. We're doing it his way. So I'm going to help you for the next few minutes together. I told you the series is going to be super practical this summer. We're going to help you redeem your time, because that's the question that you got to ask yourself. How do we redeem our time? How do we get on God's time length, God's time wave, God's pace, other than our own? And I'm going to give you 4 challenges. One of these 4 is probably the one you need to do when you leave here today, and they're difficult. And let me just tell you, as your pastor, I have mastered none of them. This is my issue. That's the reason you probably think I'm always crazy and always busy and everything wild, because this is a subject that I've been preaching to myself 2 weeks now since I wrote this message, and it's hurting me and it's helping me, so I'm going to do the same to you. Ready? Number 1, if you want to redeem your time, you got to do time God's way, then you need to learn how to slow down. Most of you guys just checked out right there. I ain't listening to another thing he has to say, and nothing else he has to say. Slow down. We live at a pace that is ungodly in our society today. Again, God is a slow walker. He's more about the journey than about the destination. And so we're missing things because we just are running so fast. So let me ask you and help you. Remember, we're going to be honest. Do you need to slow down? So let me just let you know if you need to answer yes to that. You would need to slow down if you're one of these people. And we can be honest. We can raise our hand if that's us. That if you have to pick a line, you evaluate what line is going to get you to the destination quicker. Maybe it's the front of the grocery store line or the line at the airport. And when you finally pick a line, this is how sick you are, you're looking at the other line the entire time, evaluating if you made the right choice. Come on, where are my people at, right? Love you guys. I told you that's why you're in the right church. All right, you get in an elevator, the door starts to close, but somebody is walking towards the elevator. And you're nicely saying, are you coming on here? But at the same time, you're pushing the closed door sign. Next time, come on, where are you at? My people at? Yeah, that's us. Yeah, we need to slow down a little bit. I'll give you a couple more. When I find myself screaming and yelling and making fun of the person in front of me in the fast lane because of how slow they are driving. But then I look down and realize, as I'm sitting there going, how can they go this ungodly speed? Realize they're going the speed limit, but I'm upset because they're in the fast lane. Come on, anybody in here? It's just wrong. It's just totally wrong. Like they need to move over. That's for us who are under grace, and just speed nicely. All right? You multitask when you go to the bathroom by bringing your cell phone in there. Come on, where are you at? No, you don't need to admit that one, all right? You got to learn how to slow down. Listen, we're missing incredible things in life because we're running at a pace that's just too fast. And I want to say a statement that's bold, but listen, if you don't get this statement, you will not get the point of this whole series and anything else that I bring in the next few weeks. Here it is. Listen to me. The single greatest threat to experiencing God's presence is busyness. And I say that as someone who loves to be busy. I thrive on being busy, but we've done it wrong. We found our validation in how busy we are. How are you doing? I'm busy. Oh man, how are you doing? I'm busy. I'm slammed. Man, I'm exhausted. We live in this world, and no wonder we're missing out on what matters most because we're giving our life to just filling our calendar. Listen, you're not embracing God's presence in motherhood. You're not embracing God's presence in your marriage. You're not experiencing God's presence in the ordinary of life because we're running from thing to thing, to event, from schedule to schedule, and we're packed out. No wonder we don't have room for God in our life. I think I deserve a little bit more of a big amen than that. So one of the greatest kind of spiritual formation pastors in America is a guy by the late, his name is Dallas Willard. If you're looking for good stuff to write, Dallas Willard is a good person to read. And Dallas Willard, he's passed now, but he was interviewed one time by a young Christian leader, and the young Christian leader says, okay, how do I do it? How do I experience God the way you've experienced? You've grown great churches, you've written incredible books, you've traveled the world, everybody comes to you for advice. How do I get to the level that you're at right now? And Dallas Willard responded to this young pastor and said this one phrase, and it's in your notes, and here's what he said. He said, ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And the young pastor wrote that phrase down and then responded with, okay, now what's next? Because don't we all do the same thing? Great, give me what's next. And he responded with, ruthlessly eliminate hurry from your life. And I think if you want to experience God's presence more, you got to figure out how to ruthlessly eliminate the busyness of your life, and that just includes slowing down. When you read the Psalms, you hear a phrase in there all the time that would, if you don't understand who David is, you'll not understand the phrase. And people think David's just like this hippie sitting on the side of a mountain with a sheep, and he's kind of a little bit like maybe on something he shouldn't be on, and he's just singing songs and, just doing worship music on his guitar, on his harp. That's not who David was. David might have started that way, but David in his prime, he was the head over all of Israel. He was the head of all the military. He was a great builder, a great strategist. David was a busy guy. And when God spoke to David about experiencing this relationship with him, here's what God said to David. Here's a challenge to the leader. Ready? We don't like that, do we? He said, be still. Listen, you want to know God? Learn to be still. We got to learn how to slow down a little bit. Number two, and it's going to get a lot more fun. Believe me, we'll end on a high. I know some of these are a little intense, but you want to experience God, then you got to learn how to eliminate time wasters. Because God is not into, listen, God is slow in the sense of he's not on the same pace as you, but he's also not wasteful on time. But we waste a lot of time. I actually was with my brother a couple weeks ago in Jacksonville. We're doing a little family get together, and he was asking me how I'm doing, and I said, man, I'm busy. I just got back from India. I'm going to Australia, traveling around to speaking in all these places, and church is growing, launching this thing, and I'm busy. I'm trying to find time for Katie and the kids. And I'm giving him this whole list of things of how busy my life is, like we all do, to try to think we're important. And he goes, oh, that's cool, Aaron. He goes, let me see your phone. And I was like, all right. So I hand him my phone, and he goes on, and you can do this on your phone. Everybody that has an iPhone, if you don't have an iPhone, I don't know what you do on that phone, but on an iPhone, he goes, go to your settings. And on settings, he went down and went to where it says battery. And you click on where it says battery, and it shows up this phrase, this thing right here, which is, it says battery right there. And what it does is it gives you the last 24 hours and the last 7 days. Two different categories, and you can click, and you actually click on this little thing. You can do it right now on your phone. It's okay to do in church. And you click on this little clock here, and what it does is it shows you how much time you spent on every single app in the last 24 hours and in the last 7 days. It's eye-opening. Like I was embarrassed when he's showing me this thing. I'm looking at it going, what in the world? Like, I'm thinking I'm this busy guy. And that week, now I had traveled that week. I was a busy guy that week. I was on an airplane a lot, so I give myself a little bit of grace. And by the way, this was not my phone, so don't you judge me, okay? Like, y'all are sitting there like, I cannot believe this guy, all right? I had spent that week 14 hours of my life scrolling on social media type stuff. This is crazy. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, my life is so overwhelming. Let me tell you, there's going to be a lot of marriage fights on the way home when y'all looking at that thing. Like, pull up your phone. I want to see it too. What is it? We got to learn to eliminate time wasters from our life. The Americans spend, on average, write down your notes, 5 hours a day on their phones. That's on average. So you got to think the 85-year-old and the 18-year-old. That's a wide spectrum. You're somewhere in that 5, probably the 10-hour range based on your demographic. Let me tell you, we are wasting a lot of time that God wants to speak to us, that we could be praying, we could be reading God's word, we could be investing in the relationships that matter most, but we live in a society that just wastes time. That's why my phrase that I've used for years and years and years is Jim Elliot's quote. He says, wherever you are, be all there. Be all there. That's why you got to put your phone down when you get home from work. Focus on your family. If you have that time with God, turn off the internet for a little bit and focus on Him. The Bible tells us to teach us to number our days. In other words, you need to evaluate your days, because I promise you this, you're not experiencing God because you're probably wasting a lot of time on Netflix. So we got to figure out how to remove that from our life. Not all of it. It's okay to veg out once in a while. But we got to learn how to prioritize our life. Are you here with me today? Do you love me today? Are you okay with this today? Are you learning something? Amen? All right, number 3, here's what we're going to do. If we're going to do time God's way, we got to learn to prioritize the important over the urgent. Stephen Covey kind of really marketed this in a book called First Things First. And his idea is that there are always important things in your life that you should be focused on. And then there's urgent things in your life, and you got to figure out making sure you're focusing on the right ones. So what I call it with our team is it's big rocks versus little rocks. What is your priority? So I'll explain it like this, okay? You have your day, and this is all the time you have in your day. So if you do your day wrong, and you do it based off of the urgent, which Dwight D. Eisenhower said it like this. He says, what is important is seldom urgent, and what is urgent is seldom important. So if you let the urgent things, oh man, what are people saying online right now? Oh man, what's happening in that TV show? Oh man, your life isn't scheduled, so your boss is just throwing stuff on you. What's gonna happen is you're gonna fill up your life with a lot of urgent things, and your life is full, which is okay. It's there, and then you're gonna have things that are a little bit more important. And they're going to come in your life, and they're valuable. They're actually probably what you're paid to do. They're actually your job, and you need to do those things too. So we're going to make sure we do all of those things. It's super important. And then you're going to have not the urgent. You're actually going to have the important things God's actually designed you to do with your life. So then you're going to get around to the end of your day, and you're going to go, okay, I got to fill up my time with, I got to serve, I got to lead a small group, I got to take care of my family, I got to make sure I spend time alone with God, I got to make sure I do all this stuff that's super important, and you're going to try to live your life great. And you wonder why, guess what? It doesn't all fit, and it's not, listen to this, it's not a time problem, it's a priority problem. Because if you got it in the right order, so same thing, you got it in the right order, And you learn to go, okay, I'm gonna do first things first. I'm gonna spend time with God first. I'm gonna make sure I invest in my family. I'm leaving, when I'm doing my calendar, that's on there first. Oh, date nights. I'm gonna make sure I got good date nights. I'm gonna make sure I do things that are the most important. I'm gonna serve in my church. I'm gonna make sure I'm doing the most important things. And then you got the things you're paid to do. Those are important. You're gonna be a good worker and a good boss, and you're gonna make sure you take care of all of that stuff. It's important. And then you have this thing in your life, and it's the craziest thing. Americans, we don't know a lot about it. It's called margin. And margin is, now I have all this time that random stuff can come up, same amount of stuff as before. Random stuff can come up, and listen, and my life isn't nearly as full and as stressed. And guess what? I'm at peace in my life. Same amount of stuff, two different buckets. The only difference is what priority is it in. Thanks. So here's what you got to figure out. Ready? Write it down in your notes. Because if you don't schedule your life, somebody else will. Have you realized how quick people are to fill up your time? And they'll do it. You got to get the priority right in your life. And you go, well, Aaron, I have too much to do. Write it down in your notes. Listen to me. A full calendar does not mean you have a full life. And I think so many people think, well, Aaron, I'm overwhelmed. Look how much I'm doing. That doesn't mean you have a full life if the things that matter most are being lost. If your kids don't love God, and your wife never sees you, and your church barely has you involved, and the community doesn't know who you are. Listen, you can have a full life if you just get the priority right, and I'm going to do the most important things and make sure they're scheduled first, and then everything else is going to come after it. Let me tell you, you're important. And your assignment is important, your business is important, but it's not as important as Jesus's was when he was on earth. If anybody had like a crucial assignment, it was Jesus. Yet, the Bible tells us multiple times, look at this one, that Jesus often withdrew to lonely places and he prayed. Look at that. You know what it shows me? Jesus knew the importance of the important versus the urgent. Could the people have pulled at him at all time? Yes. But he knew how important it was to spend time with God every day. Do you see how crucial your time is? You get on his time length, I promise you, you'll experience his presence more than you ever thought was possible. Can you give God some praise for it? Amen? All right, number 4, we'll close with this one, is that you got to learn, if you're going to do time God's way, that we're going to make sure we make every day count. We're going to make sure we make every day count. Because really, we have this idea that we're always going to have more time. But the problem with time is deceptive. We think we can have more of it, but we really are only given a certain amount, and we really don't know when that certain amount is going to come to an end. And here's how you know, and I know that's kind of a depressing thing, but let me just help you understand it. Here's how you know if you're not making every day count, is if you're constantly saying this phrase, and here it is, it's not in your notes, but you should write it down, tomorrow. Y'all know tomorrow people? Tomorrow people are, you know what, I'm gonna go to church tomorrow. Somebody told you they're going to come with you today. And what do? They go, oh, man, it'll be tomorrow. It'll be another day. Yeah, I'm going to get involved another day. I'm going to get my life together, and I promise you, another day. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow. You've probably heard this, and I know you haven't said it, but I know you know somebody that has said, you know, I'm going to get in shape tomorrow. My diet starts Monday every time. What is it? It's tomorrow. But the Bible tells us very clearly in James, and you've heard me preach on it so many times. It's one of my favorite verses. When I have interns in ministry, I've done that for over a decade. When I have interns, I always get them to memorize this verse first. And it says it like this. It says, now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we're going to go to this city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. He goes, why? You don't even know what will happen tomorrow. He goes, what is your life? You're a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. In other words, we can't rely on tomorrow. We got to do something today. We got to make today matter. If we're going to do this, we're going to live life, understand that today is all we're given. So let me explain something, a principle that was revealed to me that I think is one of the coolest principles that you can walk out of here with, and it's the life cycle principle. And here's what it means, okay? I'm gonna help you. You just stick with me for about 5 more minutes. We're going to be done. Here's what it means. The life cycle principle means this. Everybody, all kind of the same thing, all of humanity, you're given, you know, sometimes it's shorter and tragically, but normally what, 70, 80, 90? Me, I'm about 140, 140 years or so. And what's going to happen is you're born, so there's birth, and then you have a period of growth. You got those seasons where you're growing up and getting stronger, becoming a big boy, and then what do? Then you have your productive season. This is your work years, and a lot of you guys are in that season right now where you're raising kids and working a full-time job. That's a normal thing in life. Then you kind of have your legacy season. Those kids kind of move out. You kind of retire. You're in your kind of second half of life, and you're kind of focusing on really what matters most of, retirement and travel and family and church. That's a great season. And then sadly, it all kind of ends with death. Kind of kick the bucket. So it's kind of everybody's going to do the same thing. And there's another arrow here, accidentally put here, but that's like, I guess, eternity. There you go. Okay. So I've come up with this idea called the life cycle principle, and here's what the practical application is. What if, instead of making that your whole life, that you're going to go through those 5 stages, what if, to make every day count, write it down in your notes, here's what I want you to do. I want you to live each day as a mini life. As a mini life. And I promise you, you do this, you try it this week, you're going to see your life forever change, because you're going to start experiencing God's presence, because I think this is how God does life. So let me show you what it means. It means every day you're born, okay? You start a new day. You have birth, and that's your morning, okay? You woke up, and you're awake. And you know what I love about being born is everything's fresh. Everything's new. So you know what that means? You're not going to bring in the stuff from yesterday into today. And so here's the question. I have questions for all of these for you to evaluate when it comes to your life. It's simply, the question is, for your birth, how am I going to start my day? The Bible tells us that his mercies are new every morning. That, man, I get to wake up and it's new possibilities and new potential and new opportunities to do something great for God. So many people wake up and you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. You're like, oh, it's Sunday. I gotta go to church. You wake up depressed. Come on, wake up excited. You got life in front of you. You got breath in your lungs. You got shoes on your feet. It's this like a Dr. Seuss line, And the opportunities are endless because you got a new birth every single morning. Start out your morning like this. Oh, God, thank you for a new day. Thank you that your mercies are new for every morning. That this is a day that wasn't given to a lot of people, but it's been given to me. And I'm going to honor you, and I'm going to worship you because of it, and I'm going to make you the best possible that you can be through my life today. Can I hear an amen today? So you're going to start your day with a new birth, and then you're going to have a period of growth. And I think everybody does, and here's the growth season. Ready? And here's the question. What am I doing to challenge myself? So I think everybody needs a challenging time in their day. For me, that's my books that I'm reading, or that's going to the gym, or that's I'm listening to some podcast and a guy in my industry, and I'm going to learn because I'm going to challenge. Remember, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So I'm going to find a season that I'm going to grow. This is your teenage years in life where you're growing so much. But what if it was just the first 30 or 40 minutes of every day? After you spend time with God, you have a challenging time and you grow. You'll be shocked who you'll become if you just spend a little bit of time every day being challenged to grow a little bit more and more and more to who God's called you to be. Then number 3, then you got your productivity time. And you know what that means? You need to go to work. And here's the question, ready? How am I contributing to society? So what am I doing? If you're a stay-at-home parent, you're contributing. You're raising those kids and investing in your home. Or what are you doing to be a contributor to society? You need that productivity time. And listen, if you are a member of Radiant Church, when that comes to that productivity time, you should be the best there is in your workplace. You need to show up early. You need to take initiative. You need to do your best, because you're not doing it even as a member of Radiant. You're doing it as unto God. And I think God's people should be the best workers in the workplace. Can I hear a good amen today? All right, number 4, we're almost there. Then you need a legacy time in every part of your day. What are you going to be remembered for? I love this. This is a lot of time that people simply say things like, man, this is where I'm leading my small group. I'm investing in people. This is when I'm taking that person out for coffee. For me, man, this is a lot of those meetings with people in the church, but it's also, man, that's my intentional time with my children. I actually have to have that time in the afternoon. And child psychologists say it this way, that if a kid is given 15 minutes of undivided attention, they will outperform every single person in their class if their parents just give them 15 minutes of undivided attention every single day. I think the stat is from dads, it's given less than 30 seconds. We got to do better. So I'm gonna create a legacy time. I'm gonna put it on my calendar. Remember, important, big rocks versus little sand. Big rocks is my kids are gonna love God. They're going to follow God. I'm going to make sure I'm investing. That's my legacy time of my day. So how am I going to be remembered? And I'm going to have that time scheduled in my day. And my last one that I'm going to have at the end of every one of my days is a time of death, and that's kind of depressing. But you know what that means? A time of death, because I've sat so many times with people at the end of their life, and here's the thing that they all want. Everybody wants the same thing at the end of their life, and here's what it is. It's this word, peace. So my thing is when I go to bed at night, I'm going to lay my head down at night. My question that I'm going to ask myself is, how will I end this day in peace? In other words, that person that did me wrong, that person that hurt me, that struggle, I'm going to make sure everything is good. You know, the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. What does that mean? And man, we're going to make sure that we're going to get everything right with our spouses and our kids, and we're going to text people and say, man, I don't want to carry that thing in. And I'm going to end my day in total peace with both man and with God. You in your life this way. Let me tell you, you do this in your life, you'll be shocked how you'll experience God's presence in your life every single day. Can you give God a good amen today? Amen. So here's what I want you to know. Listen, you live your life as a mini life, but the truth of the matter is, one day, you're going to have completed that cycle of 5 things. And you're going to get to the end of your life, and you don't have to wait for peace. You can experience it right now. At both locations, close your eyes, because there's people in here today, and you don't have peace. You're sitting there at the end of your day. You don't have peace. Right now, as you're sitting in your seat, you don't have peace. It's because you don't have a real relationship with God, and I want you to know you can experience His presence right now. Because where His presence is, where God is at, you can have supernatural peace. You don't have to wait till the end of the night. You don't have to wait till the end of your life. You can have it right now in this moment. With every eye closed and every head bowed, that's you today, and you go, Aaron, I don't have a relationship with God. My sin has separated me from God, but I want a relationship with Him. I want to accept Jesus as my Lord and Savior. That one decision can change everything. And if that's you today, I'm going to have you throw your hand up in just a second. Put it right back down. Ready? 1, 2, 3, all over this place. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow, so many people. You just pray this prayer right now as you're sitting there. Say, God, I give you my life. I give you my sin. I give you my issues today. Jesus, be my Lord and be my Savior. I want peace in my life. For the rest of my life, come on, tell them this. I'm going to follow you. I'm going to live for you. And at the end of my life, I'm going to have peace because I know I'm going to spend eternity in heaven. We pray this all in Jesus' name. We pray. And everybody that believes it says, amen. Can we give it up for that 10 or so people right in this service? Oh, come on, make them feel loved today. All right, we're going to do 2 things before we go today. First of all, if you're one of those people, I know we got to go, but remember, we got to slow down just a little bit. We're almost there. If you're one of those people that just made that decision to follow Jesus, I want you to take that connection card, and I want you to check on there. I committed my life to Christ. When you put that in the offering in just a second, what happens is that it gives us an opportunity to send you some resources to help move you from where you are to where God has called you to be. And let me be the first to say, welcome to the family of God. We've been waiting for you. We're excited to have you part of it. We'd love to have you part